Okay, Mark, looks like we may be live again. I'm just going to check to make sure because today we have a hot topic. All right, looks like we're away. Awesome. As always, good to chat to you, Mark. It's evening over there, I know, but it's early morning here, and I'm fired up because I've just turned 50. Fit and 50, as they say. But
the new
today,
30.
What's that?
50 is the new 30.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. Yeah. I wanted to talk today about success at HyperSpeed and what's behind this. Like for the 99% that are out there struggling and stressing and pushing and hustling and all of that stuff, there is an easier way and a simpler way. And, you know, I've had a lot of interest. Just in the past week or so, I posted some results in the ClickFunnels group, and great group. You know, we know Russell Brunson does some fantastic work on coaching and teaching people, has created an amazing piece of software with ClickFunnels. But yet I did notice something this morning. He's got a banner on his page saying over 250,000 ClickFunnelers, like over 250,000 customers, so to say. So much to say. Yet I don't see 250,000 millionaires. And I don't even see 250,000 successful marketers as far as people making money. There's a lot of people in that group not making money. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, as far as accelerating accelerating the time frame to actual success. And I mean, let's just break down success for a minute and put it into terms of money. And really, this is just paying the bills, because I see a lot of people going backwards. I see a lot of people struggling to pay even just for the ClickFunnels software. Like the comments in other groups that, you know, and I'm in multiple groups. We're both in multiple groups. We've both been marketing and been in this kind of internet marketing and business marketing coaching space for nearly a decade or more. And I still see a lot of people struggling to pay the bills, and it's tough, but there is a simpler way. And what I teach my people, and what I've actually taught a lot of people within the ClickFunnels group, like a lot of those people do come to me for coaching, for guidance, for mentoring. You know, I've had a lot of those clients over the years, and, you know, there's so much out on the internet, and I always break it down to the very basics. Like marketing is a very simple game at its basic level. It is, you know, there are principles behind marketing that you need to stick by. There's not 1,000 things you need to do. There's normally 2 or 3 things that make all the difference in business. And this is really the focus of what, you know, I try to push with my clients. It's having a clear funnel. But we're not talking about a ClickFunnels funnel. We're talking about having a clear process to sale, like message to offer to sale. And they're really the 3 key pieces. And yet people struggle with, what software am I going to buy? What platform should I be operating on? What, you know, like, should I be doing videos or blogs? Should I be writing articles? And none of that has any real weight in the process of actually creating a payday and a successful business. I started my business 10 years ago, literally by posting on Facebook. And I was working with clients, and like, I would just literally post the results. I didn't know any better. I was excited about what I was doing. I just learned product launch formula. I was managing launches for people. I got a couple of great clients at the very start. I didn't try and get hundreds of clients. I just had, you know, as I said, I had started off one client. Everyone starts with one client, but I literally started posting the results from that. and that took off. Like that created the business. And this is the simple thing. It's like sometimes it just takes one clear message out in this, you know, in the interwebs, and that is enough to build your business. And yet most people are still worried about, okay, should I be shooting videos? What color title should I have on my video? Is my subject line okay? They're worrying about the irrelevant and not focusing on what they need to do. And as I said, one clear path, remove the ridiculous. Now, I know I went on for a couple of minutes there, Mark, but I want to hear your two bobs worth on this because it's such an important topic, because there's still so many people really struggling, and I wanted to kind of clear this up for people.
Well, I mean, your comments resonate so well. You know, both of us have been doing what we do for a long time. I've been doing it longer than you have in the analog world before the digital world, but regardless, it's still been a long time. And I think that there are certain things that are common, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what it is. And that is that people confuse being busy with being productive.
Oh, 100%. Great point.
And your total focus in life is about clarity and simplification. And yet it's so easy to take a quick hit with a piece of software or a new technique or whatever it is. It's the tactical approach. You're jumping from one shiny object to the next, hoping that you're going to hit a home run. You're swinging at anything. And this is the, you know, just bulk approach to doing business, instead of stepping back and saying, hey, wait a minute, let's just consider for a minute what we're doing here. And will this move us toward our outcome, our solution, our goal? And the answer is no, it won't, because they don't know what the definition of success for them is. So how can you possibly make a good decision if you really can't have a concrete, crystal clear image in your mind of what success looks like for you?
Yeah.
They're taking partial degrees of success. And that's the big lie. That's the big frustration of this approach.
Yeah, this is perpetuated by like a lot of the gurus and whatever, because they are trying to sell you on, well, they're trying to sell you stuff. They're trying to sell you on their knowledge, you know, their books, their videos, their webinars, their whatever it might be. And that's all well and good. Like there's nothing against that. It's, you know, it shows that they know marketing. It shows that they, you know, they're doing their job well, but that doesn't serve you if all that it's creating is more confusion. And this is the big thing that I see in the marketplace. It's like people come to and talk with me and they're like, I need clarity. I don't know what, like essentially, I don't know what I'm doing. That's what they're saying. If they don't know the way to that successful outcome, if they don't know what that successful outcome is, they're saying, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, and this is one of two reasons why the vast majority of wannabe entrepreneurs get frustrated and quit.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, it's sad to see, because like I believe everyone like has an opportunity. Everyone has the same kind of, everyone starts at the same level and everyone has the same opportunity in life to create whatever they want. Like, you know, I've had an awesome life. I've always gone after those little dreams that I had in the back of my mind that wouldn't sort of disappear. And I've achieved really quite a lot of them, most of them, to be honest. And I believe everyone has that opportunity and should have that opportunity. And yet their own confusion, their own inability to remove the ridiculous and stay on one path keeps them from their dreams. And it's sad to see. It's sad to see.
Well, and again, this is one of those big things in life that we call experience. And that is that for the most part, people that get into business or move into business for themselves are coming from the perspective of working for a business, a company, and getting a paycheck. So their whole existence in the working world is show up, do your job, get a paycheck. And they look at the owner or the boss or whoever it is and say, wow, it'd be great to be this guy. I mean, look at all the stuff that he's got and all these people. And they create this imaginary castle in their mind. But when they get there and they start actually trying to do this, having a good idea is not enough, because where
They're a dime a dozen.
they all, pardon me?
They're a dime a dozen good ideas.
Well, not only are they a dime a dozen, but even if it is an outstanding, sterling idea, you have to market it and sell it, which is something they're not prepared to do. And they have to deal with the administrative aspect and the financial aspect of running the business and managing to actually produce and deliver the product, whether it's a service that requires your time or whatever. So they've got the service delivery part. That's the good idea, and I can do that. That's where everybody starts. But they very quickly figure out that I've got to sell this stuff if I'm going to make any money on it, and that they're not prepared for that.
Yeah.
So they find out right away that there's a whole lot more to this equation than just looking at it from the outside in and saying, God, anybody can do that, right? And then at that point, then the self-doubt begins to creep in, and they begin to realize, number one, they start questioning the validity of their dream. Was it really a legitimate dream? Can I do that?
Was that idea good enough?
Was the idea good enough? And then the second thing is am I capable of making this work? And since they've just gotten smacked down because they don't know how to sell or market, and they don't know how to, they're overdrawn in the bank because they haven't managed their funds properly, then they develop self-doubt around what they're doing. And I'm like, I'm a great artist or a great skateboarder or a great surfer or whatever, but how come I can't make a living doing this? Because there's other elements there that they haven't been exposed to.
There's, along with, like, as I said, I'm a big proponent for just one clear path, stay the course, remove the ridiculous. And that sounds very simplistic in its kind of wording there and just stating it. But when it comes down to it, it is very difficult. As you can see, wearing the Wake Up Warrior shirt, supporting my mate Garrett J. White, and that says, be more, do more, suck less. Okay. The concept behind Wake Up Warrior, and I mean, Garrett's grown a huge business because he stayed on the one message. And this is a crappy old t-shirt. I remember I was at one of the first Warrior Weeks, and I've been to a couple of them now. This shirt was, it's not designed like a $1 million shirt, but it's a $1 million message.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the difference. Garrett stayed the course following one clear path. He stayed the course and just pushed the message. He made it a success. And like you say, most people aren't willing to go through the hurdles. They aren't willing to keep banging down the doors to actually make something a success. Like, it's not, Wake Up Warrior is not a success because of its t-shirts. It's not a success because of its videos. It's not a success because of Garrett, so much as Garrett was prepared to jump the hurdles. He was prepared to keep banging down doors, to keep pushing forward, to keep spending money when all hell was breaking loose. Like, I've had conversations with Garrett about when it was, going belly up and he had to find another $10,000 to put into marketing. And, him literally being in tears, and yet he had to stay the course. And most people aren't prepared to just, forget about the actual outcome and just forge forward to achieve their outcome. Like with my clients, it is you're choosing one course of action, one clear path, and you're seeing it through to success. Now, I can talk about the successes. We've had some amazing ones. There's guys like, Joseph Giletti that, did 2.5 million in 1 year from pretty much scratch. There's guys that are 23 years old building physical business, like in building products in the physical business realm that have grown $1 million businesses. And it's not because I'm a fancy marketer or I'm a fancy mentor. It's not because they're amazing marketers. It's not because they have some miracle idea. It's because they stayed the course on one clear path. They removed all the ridiculous stuff in the way. They stayed focused, and just like Garrett, they carried on in one direction. That is the real key, and it's not being spoken about really. It's all this hype and tactics and secrets and the next course, the next seminar, the next mastermind. And yet when it all comes down to it, if you stay the course on one thing, it will be a success. It's as simple as that.
It's very interesting when you back and you consider all of the factors that are coming into play. For instance, I know that the vast majority of individuals have no real understanding of what the value of an experienced mentor is. And when I say experienced mentor, I'm talking about someone who's been in the trenches, that has done what they're trying to do, that's overcome the issues, just like Garrett did, just like you did, just like I did, and really serious obstacles, because they are solely and wholly committed to their belief. And, when you say that you're working in that one direction and that's all you're doing, that is the definition of soul focus. There's a soul focus here, and you're on the message because that is your focus. And I talk oftentimes when people say, well, there's so many things, there's so many distractions, there's so many this, there's so many that. Those are just excuses.
Yeah.
I said, we didn't have the Olympics this last year because of COVID, but in one of the track and field events, there's the high hurdles. And the whole purpose of the high hurdles is to get over the hurdle as quickly and as smoothly and effortlessly as possible and get to the end of the race to win. That is a metaphor for life if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. And this is something I teach. It's remove the ridiculous. Like people are, okay, should I be watching this video? Should I be listening to this motivational call? Should I jump on this webinar? Should I read this book? No, you shouldn't do any of it. You should focus on what you're doing. And the thing is, the big piece of this is they see it as an addition to their business. And they can't distinguish addition, like true additions, say like studying profit first, I can see it over your shoulder there, and putting a monetary system in place, versus watching a webinar, which is complete distraction. And you have to be able to identify these things. And this is what, in my mentoring, coaching, guiding, whatever I'm doing with clients, my guys are constantly in touch with me. Like I let them access WhatsApp so that, I'll have messages at all times of the day, and I'm simply diverting them from those distractions. They're asking me silly little questions. And as we all know, there's no silly little question, but they're little questions like, I've just come across this and this and this. What do you think? So forget about it. Just focus on this. Focus on this one thing. And I'm pushing them back to that one thing all the time. And that's really what I do, because I'm able to see the obstacles from the outside. It's kind of the forest for the trees and all that. I'm looking from above, and I can see what they need to be focused on. And that's why they get to accelerate. Like they're literally creating results at hyperspeed. And it's because they don't lose focus. Or if they do lose focus, they message me straight away. And they're saying, what is my focus? You know, not in those words, but it's where I'm essentially keeping them between the white lines on the road. And they're not allowed to ride off on the dirt track. And it's tough to do. Like it's tough to do when you're by yourself. And that is the benefit of, you know, mentors and coaches and that sort of thing. If your coach isn't keeping you on track, if he's just constantly feeding you new information to learn, he's probably not serving you in your best interests.
This is the hardest thing for me personally, is to meet and sit down and genuinely listen to my counterpart, whoever I'm working with, and physically restrict the information that I can give this individual to their level of awareness. In other words, if you're just learning how to do multiplication and division, and I start talking to you about calculus, there's no way that you can relate to what's going on. I might as well be speaking Martian. And even though, you know, you say remove the ridiculous, it's easy for us to see the ridiculous because we've been through it so many times for ourselves. Yeah. We've made the mistakes. It took decades of my life of working hard and stupid instead of smart and easy, right? Hard work and, you know, working smart, they don't seem to go hand in hand. We do brute force. Because we figure that extra exertion is going to be work. It's actually going to translate to work, and it doesn't.
It's really interesting. Like I've got one client in particular, and he's a young fella, going exceptionally well. And each time he comes to me and he's in a bit of a, oh shit, what's going on? I'm fighting fires. And I'm right. I've got some words that I say to him. I say, get back to happy. And essentially what that means is let go of all the fires, forget about all of that stuff, and get yourself back to the happy place where you can actually see the bigger picture. And each time he does that, you know, he'll come back to me with a message saying, yep, all okay, all was okay. I just lost the plot for a moment, you know, and he's back on track. Yeah, I see 90, like then, and I'd love to know what the actual number is on successful people versus, you know, the kind of the struggling. But I did look at some numbers from some of the ClickFunnels guys. This is probably a year or more ago, and there was, I think, 400 millionaires he'd created, but yet there was 65,000.
Hang on. So he's saying that there was 400 millionaires.
Yep, and I think at the time there was 65,000 clients of ClickFunnels. So what's that as a percentage? I can tell you've got the calculator.
It's 0.6 of 1%.
0.6 of 1%. So it's not even the 1%.
But wait a minute. You have to understand, in the bigger picture of all business and all people, the percentage of people that achieve $1 million, the percentage of people that achieve $1 million of sales. In all business, the amount of businesses that achieve $1 million of sales, not profit, but only $1 million of top line revenue of all businesses started, is between 3 and 4%.
Okay, so that's quite high compared to what's actually happening within a group like ClickFunnels. And I'm not against ClickFunnels or Russell, he does amazing work. But the thing is, it's like people have to realize that if you're going into a group like that and looking to learn, you've got to ask yourself the question, am I looking to, like, is success for me learning, or is success for me actually creating the result that the learning is going to give me? And it's a they are two completely different things.
Right. And I would,
And
I
like
would say, I would say there's not enough information for me to draw a conclusion at this point. The reason I say that is because I'm a ClickFunnels customer.
Yep.
Right. I've got their platinum plan or whatever it is. Guess how many funnels I've actually built with the software?
2.
0.
Yeah.
I've got Infusionsoft, and I've got a ton of Infusionsoft funnels, and I bought ClickFunnels because I wanted to compare it to Infusionsoft. But then guess what? Life got in the way. And I said, do I continue to do this? I'll get to it next month. I'll get to it next month. I'll get to it next month. So he's getting freaking fantastic monthly recurring revenue from somebody that does nothing and has 0 support costs.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people in that mode.
Absolutely.
That can't even, and I know you can build a funnel, but there's probably plenty of people that can't build a funnel, and yet they bought it because they bought into the hype of the information and all the rest of it. And as I said, nothing against ClickFunnels, nothing against Russell, does awesome, amazing work and has taught amazing stuff. But you still have to come back to, okay, what am I trying to achieve here? Like, and years ago, I know you've read Stephen Covey,
Oh yeah,
7 Habits.
7 Habits, one of my favorites. I was just reading it yesterday, actually.
Start with the end in mind.
Exactly.
And like, you've got to really think about, like in Wake Up Warrior, they have a, like really that whole process is about getting your shit together and working out what you want. And then actually putting what you want on a bit of paper and chasing after it. And the thing is, if you don't know what you want, you've got no chance of going anywhere. You're going around in circles. So I would say to everyone, answer the question for yourself. What do you actually want? And most people won't be able to answer it. It's a tough question. Like I've been a part of Warrior for a long time, and it is a tough question. And the more you get what you want, the tougher that question becomes.
And even if you get what you want, you begin to question whether you really wanted it in the first place. That's exactly. The whole grass. That's the whole grass is greener thing.
Oh, that's part of the game. It becomes harder and harder and harder the more you get what you want, because you actually realize, well, why was I chasing this? And then you start to ask yourself better questions and say, why am I chasing the next thing? Right. It becomes harder, like way more difficult. The achieving becomes easier as you go up the ladder, but the answering the question becomes much harder.
So yesterday was Sunday here, and I was having an extended conversation with my wife, which can turn out badly. Those conversations where can we talk? That kind of conversation. That can turn out to be a challenging situation, but the conversation was around how much time I spend in personal development. I get up at 4 o'clock every morning. I have 2 hours of reading and development in some area every morning before I leave, usually between 6 and 6:30 for my walk to work. So I'm at work by 7 o'clock, and then I do a lot of things. And at night when I come home, I generally don't watch TV or anything like that. I'll do something else. So she was concerned about how much time I was spending with personal development. And I thought to myself, this is just really an interesting thing. And she said, how would you feel about being a monk? And I thought to myself, and I thought, you know what? I could be a monk really easy because there's nothing there except focus. And you're focused on meaning. You're focused on the meaning of life.
Yep.
And your existence. And if you think about the world that we live in today, more than any time ever in the history of man, we have a bombardment of up to 10,000 messages a day from every channel. And we talked about this on one of our previous calls, is that the documented attention span of Gen Z coming up right now digital natives. They were born into an all digital world. The attention span of Gen Z is 8 seconds.
And this is this just falls into the whole conversation today of, without focus, without being able to stay the course on one clear path and remove the ridiculous, it is very difficult to, create anything or build anything of success and continue to layer upon that. I posted my results for the last 10 years with clients, just a few of my firsts. And that is a gradual progression that grows and grows and grows year upon year. And you can't do that unless you are really focused on the outcome all the time. And it's hard to do. It's like, I don't spend, when I first started product launch management, I spent a lot of time studying launches. And I got to a point one day where I realized I can't watch any more launches because they're too time consuming. And I understand them. Like I understand them from a principle-based marketing approach. And there's not that there's no more to learn, but just repeating that process is a waste of time. There's always more to learn. There's always more specifics to learn. There's always more to mastery, but consuming for the sake of consuming is not productive. And you have to be able to differentiate that for yourself. You have to be able to go, okay, I'm watching another webinar with the 14 other ones that I've watched this month. Do I really need to be sitting up at 10 o'clock at night, or be with your family, or be creating something of value, or be sleeping, or whatever it might be? And going right back to kind of why I wanted to discuss this topic today is it is very easy to create success. Like success really is a process. But if you don't remove the ridiculous, and if you don't follow that one clear path, staying the course, there really is no hope for you. And it's such a sad thing. It's sad to see people that are 3-4 years down the track and still struggling with the same stuff that they were struggling with at day one.
Well, I'm a little bit more philosophical about that because I've been down that road so many times. I mean, this is my 48th year in business this year. And that's organized business where it was actually structured. I started my first company when I was 19, and it's still running 48 years later. But I've been an entrepreneur since I was 7-8 years old. I sold things door to door. I did.
We probably all did. I remember I did.
Exactly.
I went out and took my dad's lawnmower and went door to door and
right,
all that sort of thing.
But the thing is that when you have a dream of being the best at what you do, the best at what you do, is that the best in your neighborhood? Is it the best in your city? Is it the best in your region? Is it the best in your country? Is it the best in the world? My vision was to be the best in the world at what I did. And that is essentially the same with being a professional athlete, is that you set your aspirations at a very high apex. And if you think about your progression from when you made that initial, I have a dream, and you look at the growth, you have big gains right away. And then as you get further and further into it, it's diminishing returns. It takes much more effort to get a smaller gain. And pretty soon, you're looking at, a few centimeters at a time of height, or parts, a few millimeters of improvement, because you're just so close to the full limit of where you can go, where the physical limit is. And I don't think the vast majority of people have any idea what their personal physical limit is because they've never, ever pushed themselves to their limit. They don't know what the limit is. And I know that this is a dear thing for you because you push yourself to the limit all the time.
It's, yeah, I've got a, it was my birthday yesterday. Oh, sorry, on Sunday, which is 2 days ago here. Well, it's Tuesday now. But it was my 50th and I ran 15 kilometers in the pouring rain because I know that getting up and doing that is the best thing I can do. But with that, I see, physical ability and business ability a little bit differently, where physical ability, yes, there's that constant striving and it is very difficult to get the extra millimeter, the extra second, the extra, yard or whatever it might be. In business, I see very much as a process, and there's specific knowledge that you need to have. There's specific knowledge that you need to have to go to the next rung.
But it's the same though.
Yes, yeah, it is similar.
It really is, because even if you don't have the physical ability to do it, you can't physically lift that weight. There's other ways to achieve what you're doing. So you say, okay, if I don't physically have the height or the weight or the speed or the endurance, what else can I do to get to the goal quicker than everybody else? I can take a different path. I can utilize different materials that would give me a competitive edge. That's the thinking. That's the being smart about it, as opposed to doing it the same way everyone else is doing it and having to compete in the brute force element of it. And I know that, at the world-class level, the amount of mental thought and preparation and focus is enormous. It's equal to, if not more than, the physical aspect of it. It has been for me anyway.
Yeah. It's, I've competed at, Australian, like national, like world level kind of thing. And, I've had some great successes in business. It's, it really does come back to being single-minded and like singly focused. When they, like Stephen Covey talks about, have the end, like start with the end in mind. You really do need that. And I'm a very big believer in that. And like Jeff Walker, excuse me, who was kind of both one of our mentors, both of us, but really my original mentor in the business realm, said, like I remember him saying to me that we, to a group of us, that we create from the ether. And what I understood from that was, if I can't see it, I can't build it. And that was the same for me when I played sports. It was the same when I was water skiing. It's the same in everything. If I can't see that result, then I can't build it. So I spend a lot of time seeing the result to the point where I believe it. And if I don't believe it, then I know that I'm not focused enough to actually achieve it. So while many people will spend all of their time collecting knowledge and confusing the brain, I'm actually removing the ridiculous, clearing the brain, kind of clearing the nice level playing field so I can only see one thing.
There's sayings, truisms in life. And one of the things that I've come across commonly in books about success is that successful individuals build the castles in their mind first. And the other thing that really hits home with me, and it took me a long time to overcome this was one of those held beliefs growing up. And that is that I would dream something that was fantastic, and my little voice over my shoulder would say, "What are you doing? That's crazy. Well, that's crazy talk to be thinking about that. Nobody can do that. And then I came across one of those motivational memes, and I thought, this is freaking fantastic. It's not impossible. It's I am possible. And when I started saying I am possible instead of impossible, that whole part of my life just melted away. So now I can look at something and say, why not, instead of, anything about the limitation, the
Yeah.
barrier. I don't throw
Yeah.
my own barriers up before I even try. And
Yeah.
yet so many people have been in that scenario, their working environment, their life growing up, their parenting, the way that they were parented. It's all about limitation and scarcity, lack, all of those kinds of things. And then when they do have an idea that is big, the first thing that happens is they're ridiculed. Who do you think you are? That's ridiculous. You're crazy. You're daft.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. And my parents did the same to me. They meant well, but
I think in our earlier years, a lot of us have that same thing. Our parents pile a load of stuff on us, and yet we have, I think, a lot of successful people at a young age have that rebellious nature, so they're going against everything our parents say. But we don't carry that through into our older age, and we lose that focus. Like that initial focus in our 20s is more of a rebellious focus. Whereas, as we get older, we realize, our parents did their best and they meant well for us and all this sort of thing. And we lose that edge. This is what I do with my clients. It's like, okay, what's the vision? Like, until you are 100% certain you're actually committed to chasing down that vision, don't come to me with it. Don't come here with big dreams and big hopes and, painting big rosy pictures unless you're absolutely committed. And maybe it's a little bit of a hangover from the Wake Up Warrior days. But the thing is, it's been my way all the way. I can remember at probably 12 or 13, I had the dream to play hockey, outdoor hockey for Australia. And I literally drew up on an A4 bit of paper, at the top, play hockey for Australia. And then I had a list of all the things that I needed to achieve in this big triangle. And I stuck it to my, just in front of my bed where I woke up every morning, I could see it. And it was like just the single focus. It became the single focus. And it's just really tough these days. And it's, going back to our original conversation, it's just really tough these days with so much information. You have to be able to remove the ridiculous. It's, following one clear path, staying the course on that is critical for success. And the thing with it is it doesn't just give you success, it accelerates it.
So remove the friction. All those shiny ideas, all they do is add time. Time is the friction that keeps us from our goal.
Yeah.
It's really about thinking about what is it, what is the absolute bare minimum that I need to make this happen?
100%. That is 100%. You see the drawings of the, A to B, starting point and success over here with the zig, 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 zig everywhere. That should be maybe just a wavy line to success, or as straight as possible. If you can remove all the little obstacles, instead of running around everything and touching everything, if you can just move through those obstacles, in the absolute, like the least amount of work, the simplest path. I stated the other day, I think I posted somewhere, your best clients, like if you've got a client and you're trying to produce a result for a client, that client should take you the least amount of time and effort possible if you're an expert. And the thing is, if you're trying to produce a result, that result should take you the least amount of time and effort possible if you've simplified it to the point where, you know, you have actually removed all the ridiculous items. And yes, there's work to do. I'm not saying there's not work to do. I'm not saying there aren't things you need to do, but I am saying it shouldn't be, you know, a constant struggle, a constant banging your head against the wall, a constant learning, there's a clear path to everything. And the job is really to uncover that clear path.
Yes.
I think we should probably wrap it up there, Mark. We've been going for a little while, but I'll let you have the last word on this one.
So I've got a friend of mine that, you know, when you say the word struggle, that's one of those words that's not part of my vocabulary. It's okay to have effort, and you can have resistance in the effort, but it's not a struggle. A struggle is a mental event.
Yeah, it's a mental sort of attitude, really.
Right. And we were talking about a couple of individuals in this person's business and how challenging it was to work with them. And I said, well, this person has got a problem for every solution. That's the living definition of being stuck in a struggle. They're throwing up barriers to your success, to your smoothness.
I think that's probably a good question for everyone to ask themselves. Are you the person with a problem for every solution? We'll leave it there today, Mark. We'll continue on next week, but that was I think that was a good discussion. Always great to talk to you, and I'm sure we will do it again shortly.
Look forward to next week.